Hi everybody and welcome back. We made short crust pastry this morning and now we're going to turn it into a quiche. So the first thing we need to do obviously is to roll out our pastry so that it fits our quiche tin. Now this is my quiche tin. I've well buttered it and I've also put in some baking paper at the bottom, and that's just really for my own ease to get it, because it's a loose bottom tin so I can get it out easier. So our pastry has been resting and is now quite solid, so all we're going to do is take our rolling pin and just gently start trying to roll it out. Now don't push too hard. I'm not sure whether I should maybe take it off this. I'm going to. I'll take it off with the grease scoop that I've got. And then start rolling. Don't push too hard on it, there's no rush. And if it sticks to your board, like it's starting to stick to mine a little bit, you can just take a little bit of flour and put a tiny bit underneath. You only need a tiny bit, and it's probably wise to put a little bit onto your rolling pin too. There we go. So because the pastry is so short, it's going to crack, but that doesn't matter because we're going to put it into our baking tray and we can patch up any bits that need patching up. So just go backwards and forwards over a couple of times, get some air underneath it, turn it round and go the other way. Now I know some people might turn it over. I was always told at school not to turn it over and I've sort of stuck with that, but you know, you do what you feel is best. And as you can see from this morning, we made a big thing about making it into a nice square shape so that we didn't have raggedy edges. And I've got raggedy edges, that's fine. And partly because I'm actually making it to go into a round quiche tin. So here comes John, and I'm sure he'll poke his head around the door because he can hear me talking to myself. And again, maybe not. So I am going to bake this pastry case blind. So that's our first stage. Okay. Our pastry is just about big enough. It's about 3 to 5 millimeters thick, I'd say. And there we are. Now all we need to do is try and get it off of the board and into the tin without creating a car crash. There we go. Easier to pick it up with your rolling pin, people. And then just roll it into your tin and then ease it into the corners and into the sides. Just lift it up and let it drop in of its own weight. And then obviously, because I am doing a quiche and it's a quiche tin, I've got little grooves around the edges, so I'm just going to stick my fingers in them so it's like little fluted bits. Like so. I'm not going to trim the excess off at this point, and you'll see why later. Now, that's that done. I've got a piece of greaseproof paper here, screwed up. You can see it's screwed up because it then goes into your tin a lot easier. So I'm going to get a fork, go all the way over your tin, making holes because you don't want the pastry to rise. As such. There we go. Then in goes the grease proof. Put that around your pastry bottom like that. And I've got some nice bacon beans, which I'm going to fill my quiche bin with. The good thing about the ceramic bacon beans, as these are, is that they get really hot as well, so that it cooks from both sides. And that is about it. I'm going to put it onto my baking tray. There we go. I've got a really long bit there. I'm going to take that long piece off in case. So here it is, and it's going to go into the oven at 200 degrees, or about 180 200 degrees, for 20 minutes. I'll see you in 20 minutes. Right then, so the pastry has been in the oven for about 20, maybe 25 minutes now, and I can smell it's ready, so I'm just going to get it out and show you the next stage. So, the pastry obviously is under those bacon beans, and I need to put the bacon beans into, which I didn't plan. So I apologise for that. Right, take off the baking paper and just dump the whole lot safely into a saucepan and allow them to cool down. Now, as you can see, the pastry is golden brown. It's flat, it didn't rise because the beans did their job. But the next thing we're going to do is we have to seal those little holes now, otherwise when you put your wet liquids in, it's going to just leak through. So here I've got a beaten egg with a little bit of salt in it, which helps break the egg down. And all you're going to do is just paint over your base, well, over your case, not base. Be quite generous with it, because this is going to go back into the oven and harden up, and then you will have a liquid proof pastry case. As you can see, the tops of the pastry are a lot darker than the bottom, and that's exactly why we didn't cut them off, because it's going to go back in and it's going to get even browner. So that's that. That will go back into the oven now for 5 minutes, maybe 10, but no more than that. It's just literally to set the egg. So I'll see you in a minute. So here is our finished blind baked quiche case. Obviously we're going to need to let it cool for a little while, because if we put cream and eggs in it now, it's going to like solidify and go all horrible before we're ready to. So your oven needs now to preheat for the quiche to actually cook. It needs to be on 200 degrees. And what we do with the quiche is we bake it for 20 minutes at 200 degrees, and then we reduce it to 180 for another 20 minutes. So it's going to take 40 minutes to cook in total. Recipe wise, this is just a guide. Part of it is a guide and part of it is a must, okay? So for me, the actual recipe says 8 ounces of ham or bacon. I prefer to use ham because bacon can be a bit tough, but there's not 8 ounces in there. There's probably slightly more like 6, but it's plenty because I've not cut it up into uniform little pieces, I've just torn it into pieces. It says 8 ounces of cheese. Now there is a lot more than 8 ounces of cheese there, because one thing I cannot abide is eggy quiche.
You also explain your daughter.
Yeah, and my daughter absolutely is a little cheese fiend. So the more cheese we can get in it, the more hearty, I guess, the quiche is. And so I use as much cheese as I can get in there, to be quite frank. And this is a mix of a very mature cheese called Black Bomber and some mild cheese, which is mine. We've mixed the two, so it should hopefully balance each other out. You need 3 large eggs beaten. You need half a pint of liquid, and that is made up of 1/4 of a pint of single cream and 1/4 of a pint of milk. And what you're going to do when you get round to it is put your eggs in with your custardy mix and some pre-sweated down onions. Now if you don't want to use a white onion, you can use a red onion. If you don't want to sweat onions down but you still want to use onions, I would recommend spring onions because they cook really nicely. So we'll give it 5 minutes and then we'll come back and put it together. So I'll see you shortly. Welcome back to part 3. Who knew? A quiche, eh? Sorry, I'm going to have to speak up a bit because it's pouring down with rain outside and the garden's loving it, although I'm not. But there we go. A nice cheesy quiche will make me feel much better, especially with beans, my favourite. So, here we go. Let's put this together and get it in the oven because, quite frankly, we're getting hungry. So, first in is the onions. Like I said, either sweat onions down, or if you want to use spring onions, you don't need to sweat them down, just put them straight in small pieces, and use red onion if you want. I've used a reasonably, I'd say a medium-sized onion, but you can put as much or as little as you like in, or leave it out completely if you don't like onion, or if you want to make it a vegetarian quiche, obviously, just leave the ham out. So next go in the ham, and as I said, this is just bits that I've just pulled to pieces. I guess the more you put in your quiche, the more filling and sustainable, is that the word?
Substantial, will do.
Substantial, that's the one. It will be. You all know me by now, and you all know I forget my words. Forget my head, quite frankly. There we go, ham's in.
It's called fibromyalgia fog.
It is called the fibro fog. Right, now next I'm going to put in some of the cheese. So I just place it all around. Like that. And I'm going to save like about that much, like a really big handful to just put on the top. Now I'm going to get my baking tray back because I'm starting to play with liquids. So, 1/4 pint of single cream, 1/4 pint of milk, 3 large eggs. Beat your eggs up into the milky stuff.
I'm assuming whole milk, maybe, or does it matter?
You can use whatever milk you want. I used whole milk today because we had it, because we've been doing some baking, but generally I don't buy anything special for it. We usually use skimmed milk because that's what we have in the house. Into this I'm going to put a little bit of pepper, just as a bit of seasoning. In my opinion, I don't think you need to add salt.
Probably quite a bit of the cheese, especially the Black Bomber cheese.
Exactly, the cheese and stuff, I think, and the ham, there's plenty, and especially if you use bacon, don't add salt if you use bacon. Right, now in this goes, and this is your custardy mix. So, try and sort of pour it all around. But be careful because obviously you can't see when it's filling up because of the cheese you've got in it. There we go. There's just about enough space in there for what I had. I was going to start running over, but it doesn't matter because it's on a baking sheet. And then just add the final bit of cheese onto the top. Now if you want to, if you're just making a vegetarian quiche, you could chop some tomatoes and put some slices of tomato on the top to make it look nice. You do whatever makes you happy, basically.
Well, I guess you could put a few herbs in as well if you wanted. I mean, the whole point about one of these is to kind of throw in what you like, as long as you've got that base that you can work from.
Absolutely cool. That black walnut cheese is strong.
Yeah, it would be.
So this is ready now. It's going into the oven for 20 minutes on 200 degrees, and we are using our pizza stone also, so this will get very hot at the bottom very quickly, which is a really good bonus. So here we go. I'll open the oven first. Steady hand helps. So 20 minutes, and then I'm going to turn it down to 180 for a further 20 minutes, and then it will be ready. So I will show you in 40 minutes when it's complete. Thanks for watching. Come back and see the finished product. Welcome back. The quiche has been out of the oven now for about half an hour. After about 20 minutes, I trimmed around the edges to get rid of the excess pastry and dropped it out of its tin. Just put it on a cake stand. It's still lovely and warm. I think the thing with these quiches is because there's so much cheese and stuff in there, they stay warm for quite a long time. So we're going to have this on for tea. So I hope you like the recipe. As I said, it's just a guiding recipe. You can put whatever you want in it. You can do chicken and sweet corn. You can do a vegetarian with broccoli or asparagus. You can do salmon and asparagus if you like that sort of thing. Whatever you do with filling, it's still the same liquid. So it's still 3 eggs, a quarter of a pint of single cream, quarter of a pint of milk, and whatever filling you want to add into it then. So thanks for watching. I hope it's useful. If you do make it, show us your pictures. Send us in a picture. John will put a link to the start of this vlog, which was where we made the pastry. That'll be somewhere where one of these places.
Somewhere up there.
Yeah, some of those.
I'm still teaching you that bit, aren't I?
Yeah, it'll be here, or it might be there.
3 years, but I've still never pointed in the right direction.
Anyway. So John will put a link in, and that's it. So I hope you all enjoyed it. I hope you really enjoy your quiches. Do send us a picture, subscribe, ding the bell, and we'll see you all again soon. Bye for now, guys.